I must play music. Such is the mantra of anyone whose soul has been thoroughly touched by a band anime like yours truly. Oh, what's that? You graduated from a prestigious university with a master's degree? Well, sorry, baby, but I'm afraid I'm just too cool for you. If you're having a hard time coming to grips with the title of this video, don't worry, I brought some friends along who are here to help explain. 4 combatants are stepping into the ring, each one carrying with them an essential component for a truly great band anime. When combined together, we'll really see what makes this genre so much better than whatever the hell you're watching right now, and yes, it is a competition, I'm sorry, but we just kind of have a thing for those around here. The mind of a band anime is constantly growing and maturing, picking up anyone who needs a helping hand and guiding them through their troubles with music. Beck is about this kid named Koyuki, a listless middle school student living in a world that just does not care about him. One thing I've always loved about Madhouse's brand of slice of life is how it's kind of the antithesis to the moe blob style that I've become accustomed to, because that's how I was introduced to the genre. Shows like Beck love putting the more sinister aspects of the real world at the forefront of their stories. Bullies, drunks always looking for fights, extortionists, perverts, thieves, assholes, murderers. Half of these motherfuckers are main characters, by the way. There are so many scenes that either end with fists flying or leave you wishing they did. And that's what makes this world the perfect setting for the story of a boy struggling to make his way through adolescence. There's a ton of enjoyment derived from watching these imperfect people come together and make their lives just a little bit brighter. Saito helps Koyuki learn the meaning of self-improvement as he teaches him both swimming and guitar. Chiba stands up for the kid whenever he can, dishing out punches so he doesn't have to. Maho taught him what love is and gave him the courage to do a bunch of things that he definitely would not have done otherwise. Ryusuke helped him discover his love and talent for music, and he takes him under his wing to be in his band. None of these relationships are perfect. Time and time again you'll be thinking to yourself, oh my god, why? What do you do? For the love of God, stop. Why? Stop it. A visceral reaction that I think comes from experience more than anything. I know we've all lied to our friends about being amazing at something we know nothing about, neglected someone important for stupid reasons, failed to stand up for ourselves, or burned a bridge in the heat of the moment. These things are just a part of growing pains, and Beck does a fantastic job of portraying this in a realistic way. Characters will get unceremonious exits where they just leave Koyuki's life and that's the end of it because, you know, stuff like this happens all the time in real life. Sometimes after something bad happens, everyone just goes on with their lives for a little while before we circle back to it an episode or two later. Because you aren't always going to get the quick resolution you want in life, and I can't recall many other anime that were willing to put their pacing at risk to portray that. Like, Koyuki ignores the girl who is in love with him to go swimming with one of his old crushes in the same pool that he and the girl who loves him went swimming in naked together exactly 1 year ago, because why on earth would that ever cause any problems? And the entire next episode has nothing to do with this incident, it's just business as usual. It feels like the invisible hands of the author are harder to see, because you'd assume that if you're a writer, you'd naturally want to wrap this up right away. Plus, some of the rough patches in this show almost serve to make it more charming, because the story is about a kid going through the bumpy ride that is life, meaning the jagged edges of the story draw some cool, albeit definitely unintentional parallels. I could go on blabbering about how grounded this show is, but I feel like I should talk about how music plays a role in all of this. Sure, this sounds like a really good anime, but I'm supposed to be saying how it being a band anime specifically elevates it above its competition. Beck uses music as a tool to highlight every exciting element I was just talking about. Koyuki's growth as a person is positively correlated with his growth as a musician, and these two often intersect in and wash each other's backs. Playing the guitar gives him confidence, self-efficacy, and helps him escape the troubles of daily life. I'm particularly fond of how his proficiency at his hobbies allow him to punch back at his bullies without actually engaging with them, just outclassing them. He gets a job at a restaurant to help fund his band, meaning music helped him take that important first step into the workforce that, well, honestly sucks for everyone, but we all gotta start somewhere, right? It's so satisfying to see the disgruntled kid who lied to his friend about being a beast on the guitar go on to become a confident and capable player who lets his performance do all the talking. The journey to get there mirrors the struggles that Koyuki faces with adolescence as well, because despite what the opening says, this kid was not made to hit in America. He's talented, sure, but he's no prodigy. What he is, though, is a hard worker, willing to take the long hours, the abuse from Ryusuke when he sucks, and whatever stray bullets fly his way from the frequent clashes between the band members. Because above all else, this kid has heart, and he really loves his guitar. By the way, the actual music in the show matches its down-to-earth and honest nature. Songs like Spice of Life are rough, crude, and so charming. It's rap over traditional band instrumentals and an absolutely insane bass line that carries the entire song. Oh yeah, and that's another thing. Beck loves having its characters speak English. And I like to say that I'm above finding Japanese voice actors speaking English hilarious, but, you know, then I watched this show and realized that God had a different plan for me all along.
Fucking stupid little kids, I'm gonna make you pay for all of this right now!
You should apologize to this kid.
What the fuck?
I adore this because not only is it really funny, but when they add this English to the lyrics of the songs, it only adds to their rough charm. They're also used to convey this incredible sense of emotional vulnerability with the recurring song Moon on the Water. The phrasing of the lyrics is simple and sometimes grammatically incorrect, so it's up to the incredibly talented singers to make sure that you feel their impact regardless. This is by far my favorite song from the show, and when they hit you with the studio version for the second ending, oh my god, dude, I don't think I can ever skip that outro. Like, I better not catch you doing it either, I swear to God, bro. Ultimately, it's the music that elevates what would have been a 6 or a 7 out of 10 slice of life show so much higher for me. Because you see, the music of a band anime will always align itself with the goals of the story and the characters because it's being created by said characters. And Beck, once it reached the end of its run, wanted to show you just how far Koyuki has come. With the band broken up and an audience of hundreds of people waiting out in the rain for a performance, our boy grabs an acoustic guitar and takes the stage by himself. His cover of I've Got a Feeling by... What? No, you fucking 6-year-old, the Beatles. His cover of I've Got a Feeling by the Beatles is really good. It's captivating, and it turns this pathetic little runt from episode 1 into the strong and confident anchor who rallies his band members back to his side to put on the performance of a lifetime. You're free to look for another hobby that could have conveyed this euphoric display of maturity better, but I guarantee you it doesn't exist. Life, much like this show, is far from perfect. It's messy, embarrassing, and sometimes really painful. But it all serves to shape our minds into better, more well-rounded versions of themselves. And it makes the times we do shine on stage all the more bright. The heart of a band anime is huge, like obnoxiously fucking massive. And the best part about it is how eager it is to take everyone it encounters along for the ride. Given is one such case of this. Mafuyu, sick name by the way bro, is a very closed off and mysterious person. Most of the comedy and intrigue from the early episodes of this show come from our other lead Ritsuka wondering just what the hell is going on through this kid's head. The show tantalizingly builds up this mystery until its climax, where, you guessed it, a big old performance releases every little feeling that was bottled up inside. Funny story, my guitar teacher actually told me to watch this show, and at first I thought it was because it's about a dude who's actually good at guitar trying to teach an aloof dipshit how to play, and he thought I might find that relatable. But in reality, it's because this story evolves into a full-on character drama that made him cry. He asked me if it gave me the waterworks too when I told him that I finished the show and the movie, which is really just an hour-long song episode. And I blurted out no with a tone of voice that conveyed why. Was it supposed to? He looked really disappointed and I felt bad, so thinking back, yeah, this show definitely tries to squeeze some tears out of you. It's trying to pull on your heartstrings, if you will. Speaking of which, going back to that whole heart thing, there aren't a lot of moments in this show that I remember super vividly. But damn that performance in episode 9 though. Like I said, this guy's past, his personality, the way he thinks, all of it was designed to hook the viewer. So when their true nature is revealed, this guy's issues become your #1 priority. And at the height of this whole giving a shit thing, the kid who could never find the words to speak for himself bursts out onto the stage with improvised lyrics that are overflowing with emotion. Every character that we've come to know is in the audience watching this performance, and they are just completely dumbfounded. Like, what the fuck? Am I dreaming? Because I'd have an easier time believing that Mappa just signed a contract with a union. Well, no, you're not dreaming. And this song is beautiful. It might be my favorite performance out of all the ones I'm talking about today. Anyways, like I teased at the beginning, it isn't just our main man Red Hair up here who has a cathartic, life-altering event here. Everybody who listened to it was infected with this dude's passion, and it takes like the next 2 hours of content to fully address all the ripple effects that this song had on every character. Some take it as a sign to move on as well, some take it as a sign to be a better person, and some take it as an excuse to get some boys love action in, which hey, right on brother. You know, I just realized there are only 2 real performances in this show, but that's because both of them have such tremendous impact. They're used to say what's truly on these characters' minds and compel them to act on feelings that they've been holding back for far too long. Akihiko is probably my favorite character in the show because he embodies this idea so well. He's this seemingly perfect dude on the outside. He's mature, he's good looking, he's talented, he's got it all figured out. Nope, can't even finish that because this guy is a mess, dude. And unlike Mafuyu, who kinda sidesteps when people try to ask about his past, you don't even want to attempt that with this guy because he looks like he'd kill you if you tried. Given the movie is essentially an hour of him trying to work through his issues, since once this guy's business was taken care of, Akihiko was the one with the most skeletons left in his closet. And again, it's through the performance in the film that he realizes that he truly loves music and goes on to do a bunch of things that I probably shouldn't talk about because I'm not trying to spoil like the entire show in these segments. Basically what I'm saying is, through this method of storytelling where the music is treated as this magic bullet that pierces through the emotional walls these characters put up day by day, we get a track list that is ridiculously short, but what it lacks in length it more than makes up for with passion, giving this anime so much more heart than most could ever hope to have. And please stop laughing at me, I'm trying to explain this as best as I can. I couldn't imagine how this story would pan out if music like wasn't the activity of choice. Imagine if they were all swimmers and they're like, oh, Akihiko, your backstroke made me dare to dream. Oh god, that's real, isn't it? Somebody needs to end this section before I just go on rambling forever. Wait a minute. Somebody. Body. Hey, that gives me an idea. The body of a band anime is hardened, diligent, and very tired. It toils away at the same task day after day in pursuit of perfection in a way that you can't help but find admirable. You know, this isn't even a metaphorical person anymore. Band anime are always going the extra mile, at least the ones I've seen do. Rotoscoping performances, creating entire discographies for in-universe bands. I can only hope the staff behind these shows got treated properly for their efforts. Well, I'm sure that at least one team out there has it good. By the way, sorry about the subtitles being on screen for these last 2. As of writing, these shows are currently airing, so clean footage is hard to come by. Hibike Euphonium Season 3 is the newest batch of episodes for this nearly 10-year-old show. Kumiko, our protagonist, has finally reached her senior year of high school, and has worked hard enough to be appointed as the president for the school's wind ensemble. Now technically this is still a band, it counts. I know you're sitting there thinking that this is just an excuse to talk about Season 3 because I'm a big fan and Yeah, Hibike has always put a lot of emphasis on how much effort goes into becoming a truly great band from the perspective of both individuals and the full ensemble. Season 3 does a great job re-establishing this focus. It opens with a long performance piece that we see Kumiko fell asleep listening to, and one glance at her desk shows us just how much effort she's putting into this club. Immediately we are told that this show thinks the music is really important, and its characters couldn't agree more. That doesn't mean anything comes easy just because they know their path forward though. Countless stressors are always weighing on the minds of the characters of Hibike, especially in this season. The seniors are about to graduate, so they're getting the "isn't it about time you grew up and got a job" speech from all of their friends, family, and faculty left and right. On top of school and their futures, their seniority in the club saddles them with the responsibility of looking after the underclassmen and navigating through the incredibly messy interpersonal relationships between everyone in the club, all while the pursuit of gold at nationals exhausts and creates schisms within the group. Plus, don't forget that these guys play instruments too. They have to remain diligent or get ousted from their slot in the next audition because competition is fierce. This show's soundtrack, thankfully, does not need to suffer the same claustrophobic fate. Hibike has always done an amazing job of simply giving the music room to breathe. Most music anime are too scared to let their songs play in their entirety, so they either cut them off or interject with dialogue or reactions that really bog everything down. But not this show. If somebody plays an instrument, you're going to hear the entire thing and appreciate it. Every little sound, every little emotion, and every little imperfection. If you have a good ear, you can follow these characters along on their pursuit of perfection, and potentially give yourself PTSD if you've gone down this road too, catching all the mistakes you made on the journey to self-improvement. God, this is such a good series. What was I talking about again? Oh yeah, stress. So there's a lot of things going on, and it puts these characters in very unenviable positions. Hell, it feels like every scene Kumiko's in ends with her walking away and going, "Oh my god." They really want you to see the effects that their pursuit of this elusive trophy have on them. I particularly love this scene at the training camp right after Mayu, the new transfer student, beats Kumiko in the audition for the solo part. She's a hardcore people pleaser, so from the beginning she's been asking Kumiko to let her drop out of the audition so that she doesn't ruffle any feathers. But Kumiko believes in Katauji's philosophy that the best player should always get to play, and well, she got her wish. That doesn't mean it doesn't suck though. Like a lot. So for Mayu to come to Kumiko right after the results are read and say once again that she should bow out and let her play the solo, like, you could cut the tension in this scene with a knife. It is so good. And Kyoto Animation does such an amazing job expressing exactly what Kumiko is thinking with her facial expressions, painting a clear picture of the thousands of impulsive decisions she's holding herself back from making right now. Words cannot express how narratively satisfying this scene is, and it complements what the story is trying to say perfectly. Being in a band is hard, really hard, especially if you have a lofty goal you're working towards. The question of why bother putting yourself through all of this is one that hangs over these characters in every single episode of the show, and it gets answered several times, but things change, you know? I'm sure that a lot of people would wonder why, in the busiest and most stressful year of your life up to this point, you would dogpile on this fruitless pursuit towards the top spot at nationals. Do you know what you want to be when you graduate? Do you even have a plan? How are your test scores looking? Cause last time I checked, they weren't good. Why hasn't Reina come over lately? I thought you guys got along so well. I need you to think very carefully about your future. It's just a club. You don't need to cling to it. Herein lies the paradox of being a creative that Hibike expresses so well. Yes, you're correct. There are more productive things I should be doing. There are more important things I should be thinking about, like my future. But I can't. And there's nothing that any of us can do to stop it. I'm sorry. However, for every rough conversation and every sacrifice made, every time you have to lock yourself in your room and listen to that one song that makes you feel like somebody out there understands you, there's a voice in your head that tells you that you're still on the right path, and the reason why is obnoxiously simple.
私 UFO が好きだもん
Hibike Euphonium is a brilliant and touching show that covers a wide range of topics. From coping with failure to finding your place in the world to doing what needs to be done before you miss your chance. The best thing about it though, at least in my opinion, is the way it so accurately portrays everything that comes from giving your full self to something that you're passionate about. I love this show, and I'm really gonna miss it when it's over. The soul of a band anime is brash and discontent. What people call normal just doesn't roll with it. And as we've seen from Hibike, the challenges that come from being different cause pain that likely won't ever go away. Watching girls band cry made me realize that parents nowadays would probably be more at ease if their kid told them they wanted to be a kick streamer as opposed to a professional musician. It is a volatile and unforgiving industry that preys upon millions of people who were audacious enough to think that their voice deserved to be heard. Nina finds herself in that very predicament, moving out of her home and dropping out of school at 17 to do basically anything that isn't what she was doing. There's obviously a lot of deep-seated trauma and nuance behind this decision as opposed to just, she's stupid. In fact, every character in this show has some deep-seated issues that they fail to manage in healthy ways, leading to frequent clashes, destruction of property, and girls band crying all the time. Out of all of the fictional bands we're talking about today, these guys have their shit together the least, and I'd be lying if I said it wasn't extremely fun to watch. Nina threw herself to the wolves and cut off all of her escape routes to get away from the horrible situation she was living in at home, which causes just about as many problems as you'd expect. Momoka's previous experience in a band has left her deeply conflicted about this new one she just formed. She desperately wants to recapture those euphoric feelings, but the fear of things going south again leads her to play the role of the buzzkill realist who always has an objection to everything. Subaru joined the band to gently protest everyone in her life telling her she needs to follow in her grandmother's footsteps and become a big-time actress. She's arguably the most sane person in the show and my favorite character. Tomo is a professional hater and just stops herself from expressing it. And Rupa, we don't know. Her episode has not aired as of writing, but I'm sure she's fucking crazy too. This lineup of goobers provides the perfect cast for expressing the raw, unfiltered emotions that lie behind everyone who dares to pick up an instrument. I could be 1000% wrong about this, but I feel like when you make music and you care about what you're doing, you're giving a middle finger to somebody or something. Sometimes the target is really obvious, and other times it's more abstract. Maybe it's to the expectations that society has of you. Maybe it's to the pain that you're holding inside. Maybe it's to something that happened in your past. Whatever it is, I feel like the person you are and the stuff that ails you bleeds into your creative work whether you want it to or not. So, bringing that back to this show. I don't know about you, but one consistent idea I've noticed throughout the creation of this video is that music is a pretty radical tool for characterization. There's a really funny scene where Nina trauma dumps to Momoka for a bit, and then she's just like, bro, what you just told me is like 5 songs. Girls Band Cry raises that pinky finger with pride. It means the same thing as the middle one, but you know, these guys are weird. And the unhinged releases of emotion that music let them get away with make their personalities and flaws shine so bright. When Nina blurts out to a crowd full of spectators that she's quitting school, again, after a performance, the ripples that this sends through everyone in the band are fascinating. Conflict, chaos, characters who desperately want to stay out of it but can't. This feels so real in a very strange way. This show isn't like Beck where it created an authentic atmosphere, hell no. Everything about these characters, from the way they look, talk, and play, feels manufactured and fake. They talk so much about this one J-rock band that has like changed a bunch and has lost their soul, but You guys' music sounds exactly the same as them to me. However, the writing, shit, dude. Somebody with a ridiculous amount of heart was put in charge of this project. Their favorite anime is probably given. The bog standard J-pop music and the cutesy moe blob vibe holds your attention well enough. But it's when they detonate these controlled explosions of emotion that you really feel hooked. It isn't just out-of-pocket outbursts all the time, by the way. I don't want to make it seem like that. Coming-of-age elements, like in all of these shows, come into play too. The show puts a heavy emphasis on putting yourself in another person's shoes. You can't just say screw you to everything. It has to be managed properly and released in healthy ways, even on stage. Given was interested in showing us what doing this properly does for your audience. While I think Girls Band Cry does a great job of showing you what this does for yourself. How it can make you feel like you're floating, even though reality would tell you you're sinking. The struggles of being in a band are a common topic that are explored by all 4 of these shows. But I feel like this one gives us the rawest depiction of that do-or-die gung-ho attitude that I think many of us associate with the soul of a rock and roll band. In conclusion, after reading everything that I wrote down about these 4 to check for grammar issues that I probably didn't even fix, I think I get it. Why I love this genre so much, I mean. Think about all the running themes I was talking about: overcoming adversity, coming of age, coping with change and loss, finding out who you are and navigating your way through the world. Band anime are some of the most human stories out there. At least a few of their themes will apply to you. And every song will hit home because, at their core, there's a genuine emotion behind them all that's being graciously shared with you. Our protagonists are easy to root for because I think we can all respect somebody who takes a look at a guitar and says, yeah, I'll give you thousands of hours of my life in exchange for slightly stronger left fingertips. And whether you're 17, 30, or 230, chances are that they're going through something that you did too, be it in your past, present, or future. The mind feeds upon the lessons of these shows like candy, soaking up the information and appreciating what they have to say. The heart vibes with the raw emotions on display in these shows, taking care to make sure that its feelings are heard by everyone who needs to hear them thanks to these stories. The body obsesses over the work ethic of the characters in these shows, striving to work just as hard to keep pace. And the soul continues to hold up its middle finger with pride. It knows that the path you chose is the right one, and there's nothing that's ever gonna change that. And hey, if a cartoon can make you feel all of these emotions and reassure you on your chosen path in life, that must mean that it's pretty special. Don't you agree? All that is to say, please, announce Bocchi the Rock Season 2. The recap movie just made like $1 million opening weekend in Japan. It made like $1 million. I don't understand. It's been like 2 years. How have we not gotten an announcement for more? Like, it has to. They have to be working on it. They made so much money. Like, there's no way that they're not, right? Please? Somebody? Please? Fuck. Hey, it's me, the band anime that lives inside your brain. Special thanks to Silent Secondary, Mr. Chocolate Salmon, and the rest of our wonderful, I don't know how this analogy works, because I'm supposed to be like a band, so it's not like my patrons, but it's like, I love patrons, thank you, you're awesome. Sorry.